idea of which absolutely terrifies you. You just want to raise sheep, marry someone who stinks of manure all the time,
or raise someone who stinks of manure and marry a sheep.
and eventually die.
Welcome, listener, to the Idiots 3 RPG podcast. My name is Duncan, and tonight we're playing Pitch Slap, a competitive game development show where my two fellow idiots shall pitch me their homebrew RPGs, and I shall tell them which is better. Will it be a fair competition from an honest judge? No. But I am in charge, and we're all stuck here. So, gentlemen, tell me your name and the most boring thing about you, starting with you, sir, across the table.
Well, my name is Jack, and I'm part of a podcast about RPGs.
My name is AJ, and I was going to say literally the same thing.
So that's so much more.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That's how you know we're all three mostly straight white men.
Yep.
So, in case you guys forgot, which I assume you have, I'm going to tell you the rules of the game. You're going to pitch me a game. We're going to discuss the mechanics. We're going to talk about where it came from, what you're intending, and maybe try and emphasize. I hope so, because I love the role playing. I love a bit of role play. And then I'm going to judge them for their design, their novelty, their funness, and tonight's special category, making the mundane Fundane.
Woo!
So the more boring AF the concept you bring that is packaged in an exceptionally fun game, the more points I shall award out of 10. So with that, I was going to get you to roll for initiative and then choose whoever's fact was more boring as the winner, but you both presented the same fact.
Yeah, but I presented it first.
But AJ presented the same fact as you, so AJ, I think you win the initiative.
That's true. Yeah,
agreed.
that is
Phenomenally
boring.
more mundane.
Yeah. So, AJ, your game, please.
Very good. Welcome to AJ's game. AJ's game is called The People in Patrick.
Okay.
Interesting name.
Right.
So I'll go through my process of figuring out how to make a mundane game Fundane. I thought of games that were in a mundane setting, like your home, your work, driving a car, things like that. And I ended up with things like The Sims, American Truck Simulator, Octodad, Job Simulator, and I looked at what do people normally do with those to make them fun. And occasionally you get ones like American Truck Simulator or Flight Sim, where people really lean into the realism. But fuck that. That's not me.
Fuck realism.
Nah, fuck realism. So I looked at The Sims and Octodad. People play those to break them and torture the Sims within them. Like an Octodad, the whole point of the game is that it's hard to control and very, very difficult, and the mechanics are broken. So, this is a weird, mechanically broken game about the people inside Patrick. So, this is a casually GM-led game for pretty much any number of people. I think more the merrier, similar to Magnet Hands or other casual party kind of RPG games like that, where you all play as tiny Lilliputian type aliens piloting Patrick. In a similar way to Pacific Rim, like you're piloting a Jaeger, but this is a person-sized Jaeger and tiny people. Instead of normal-sized people and a giant Jaeger.
Or that one alien in Men in Black that's like got a really big head and it's inside that guy's bigger head.
So, to confirm, and I'm sure you were going to tell us anyway, but if I might jump in because I want to make a reference. Oh, is this people physically piloting a shell that humans perceive as a gentleman called Patrick? Or are you the beings inside Patrick, like Osmosis Jones kind of style, where you're keeping him alive?
You more similar to that.
Okay.
But it's kind of like, you know how in Pacific Rim you have to be drift compatible and both make the same decisions at the same time? Like that, except I'm assuming everyone playing this game is going to be drunk and argumentative, and no one's going to get along.
Safe assumptions, all right.
Yeah, typical tabletop RPG group, really, yeah.
So, this game's mechanics. So, you're all piloting Patrick in some kind of way. You each have a tiny whiteboard, pieces of paper, whatever. The GM presents a situation. Everyone writes down what they want Patrick to do, and then you have some process for selecting who gets to decide.
Okay.
Cool. So to decide, you take down everyone's names, put them in a bowl, you pull a name out whenever you want to, assign an action. Cool. And you can also have in the bowl, as well as single people's names, you can have double. So instead of one person, you pick two people out. So if you pull that piece of paper out, you pick two people, you do both their actions, which might be conflicting. So let's say you're presented with two doors, and you pick both. One person decides the left door, one decides the right. Patrick does the splits, strains his groin. That kind of situation.
Okay.
So purposefully breaking the game, and then the players have to figure out their way out of it.
Okay.
Basically how it works.
Hoisted by one's own petard.
Yes. So basically the challenge of the game is to... let's go over what you're actually trying to do as these Lilliputian type aliens. You're trying to prep the Earth for an invasion, basically. But
As people from Liverpool I want to do.
Lilliputians.
Yeah, from Liverpool.
Let's just keep going. So you're trying to prep the world for invasion, but this is just recon missions. And so your planet has sent the best and brightest down to assimilate into high-ranking positions like presidents, prime ministers, Elon Musk, those kind of people. However, you are not the best and brightest. You turned up late and are a bunch of fuckwits. So you are going to... you'll be assimilating into a low-level position at Stromberg, a paper supply company in Pennsylvania, USA. Your mission is simple. Observe the humans, fit in, and above all, don't get fired. Yeah, pretty easy. There are some caveats to the actions, and that will make your job a bit harder to, blend in as a human. Patrick cannot eat or drink as there is no digestive system inside the Jaeger. You cannot swallow. You cannot drink fluids. So you also have to, if you're at work and you don't have lunch, you have to make up reasons that you're not having lunch, or fake yourself eating, or say you're on a date and you have to pretend you're enjoying your spaghetti and you have to slide it down your shirt.
We'll just do the Cookie Monster. Yeah.
This also means that Patrick doesn't poop, but I can't see how that will be a problem.
We'll make it a problem. Don't you worry.
What else we got? Patrick doesn't bleed or feel pain, so you'll have to fake reactions to minor injuries and use ketchup or other materials to fake damage from more serious injuries.
Goodness.
It's getting complicated. If Patrick is severely injured, the seal on the Jaeger is broken and the atmosphere kills the crew.
Oh, War of the Worlds style.
Yeah, similar to that. It's an alien invasion.
Gonna die of a common cold. Just like I've always wanted.
So yeah, that is our setting. That's what you got to do. What else have we got mechanically? Dialogue. I thought the dialogue could be selected Mad Lib style. So the GM has you have someone you have someone talk to Patrick, and then Patrick has to respond. And so the GM sort of makes a list of what parts of speech they need. I need a greeting. I need a nickname for this person you're greeting. I need what you did on the weekend. I need whether you enjoyed it. This, that. And then you just randomly from the bowl pick out who's going to fill the parts of speech. You go around and everyone fills it in, and hopefully you get some wacky shenanigans.
Okay, so how is the action made going forward? You said it's a lightly GM inspired or approved or driven game.
Yeah.
So is the GM deciding, okay, cool, you're walking into work and now you've got to do the thing?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff?
I thought you could do that. That's kind of what I prepared for today, which we might run, but I thought you could also do it Magna Hand style. We keep referencing this because we like it and it works well with a big number of people and stuff. But in Magna Hands, for people unfamiliar with it, you also source powers and then hand it out to people, and that drives what the GM creates. Okay. So you could do a similar thing in this. So you come along and you'll decide on where Patrick's going to be, and so the vague situation you're going to be in. Like, you're at home, you have a certain number of jobs to get done. Cool. And then you have to get those jobs done, or go out for groceries, blah, blah, blah. Or you're in an office, and what kind of situations would arise in an office, which Patrick has to deal with. And you could have varying levels of ludicrous things happening, like boring things like he has to refill the paper tray at the copier, or he has to explain to his boss why he stole some supplies the other week. Things like that. So you'll chuck that in a bolt, GM picks a few, and then they let that guide them through, and you kind of have to achieve those goals along the way.
So it's kind of like, okay, you walk into work and draw. Here are the scenarios that you are faced with. We're going to start with this one.
Yeah. I also thought in this way, you don't necessarily have to have one GM because everyone's not playing separate roles necessarily. You're all playing Patrick. You're all trying to make things work for Patrick. So you could have one person, the GM, and then next turn, you could, once you run out of, say you pick 3 situations out, once you achieve those, you move it along, and then the person who was the GM becomes another one of the people piloting the Jaeger.
So everyone's controlling every part of Patrick. It's not like someone's responsible for the left arm and someone's responsible for the right arm. And
that was the original plan for the game, but if you do that, it limits you to a maximum of 4 players, unless you, I don't know, someone controls the left ear and the nose.
Someone's the
dick.
Like
that. Someone is the dick.
Someone gets to be leg number 3. You've only got 2 actions. No, 3 actions. Up, down, and out.
And when you're scared...
And then shake it all about.
Yes! That's better than my joke.
So yeah, originally it was something like that, but I thought also the GM could say, okay, I need an upper body action and a lower body action. So say you're trying to bake something in the kitchen, and you're at the next step in the recipe, I need a lower body action and upper body action. So maybe you walk to the fridge and open it. Or perhaps, you just stand there, because doing nothing can be an option. You stand there and you beat some eggs. So if someone, and you draw separately for each of those actions. So the lower one might be, we might get picked, he walks to the fridge. The other action might be, he starts cracking eggs. So he starts cracking eggs and they drop all over the kitchen floor. And then now you've got another challenge. You have to clean this up before your flatmates get home. And they're like, what the fuck happened to the kitchen? Bombs went off in here.
God, the aliens couldn't even afford for him to just rent on his own or own a house. He has to flat.
Well, where'd they get the cash from?
Well,
they're aliens.
They don't just have cash.
Energy credits. They can just fake it. Come on.
But what's the conversion rate from energy credits to dollary dues?
1 to 1.
1 to 1.
Exactly 1 to 1. It's surprisingly
Inflation
efficient.
has hit the aliens hard. That's why they're attacking in the first place.
This isn't like a global climate crisis. This is an economic crisis. They need to expand out, free up some capital.
What's the win state and lose state? You said, he can't lose his job.
You can't be you can't be discovered in a major way. So you can't have your cover blown in a way that's unrecoverable, which is vague, but let's keep it vague. Or if you die.
Okay, so it is up to the GM to say, okay, cool, you're now been discovered.
Pretty much. What do you think a good win state could be? I guess you could pick one for each scenario, but I guess just if you complete enough goals.
Yeah.
It sounds like because this is just a little quick party RPG, you're never really going to get to a point where the aliens invade unless you're trying to get that, unless that plot moves along very fast. But
you're not that high up in the hierarchy. Yeah, your job has nothing to do with that.
So it sounds like your goal is literally just achieve the task, like do the day.
It fit in, get to the end of the day.
Yeah, morning through to nighttime, just a day.
Oh yeah, maybe like the rounds are like just times of day between breakfast and lunch, afternoon tea to home time.
You could call it, and you don't have to adopt this as the title, but I thought of a different title. You could call it A Day in the Life of Patrick, because it's a day in
the life
Patrick's life.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
A day in the life of Patrick.
Amazing. It's almost like 2 out of 3 of us are writers or something.
Yeah. So when people want to do an action, everyone puts their requested action in the bowl. So I want to kneel down and clean up the eggs. And the other person's like, no, forget the eggs. And it's randomly chosen, right?
Yes. Or I was thinking like everyone writes it down, then when you pick them, they reveal it.
Right.
Something like that. Doesn't matter how.
And the GM just chooses at random which one is the one that is chosen, the action.
Yes.
What if, to add more of the chaos that you obviously really want, and this, so when you describe this game, it actually made me think of Twitch Does Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
So what if we took a little leaf from the nonsense that was the beautiful nonsense, I should say, that Twitch Does Pokemon.
You don't want to piss off the Twitch viewers that we get.
Twitch Does Pokemon was a gorgeous mess, like me. So what if everyone puts their action in the bowl and they're all drawn, and unless 2 actions are the same, so it's like a majority. Unless 2 actions are the same, Patrick goes into some kind of like chaos mode where he's trying to do too many things at once. So if there's 4 players and 2 vote to do the eggshells and 2 people vote different actions, he does the eggshells.
So you're saying majority wins, but if there's no majority, it's chaos.
Yes. So there need to be some kind of chaos mechanic.
It could
'Cause
be
then the
that
players-
could
I
almost,
kinda
that could
work that
almost
in
make
with-
it too ordered, though, because if everyone's trying to complete the task, then everyone's just going to say, okay, cool, clean
Yeah,
up
exactly.
the eggs.
You don't want this to be a democracy because I also kind of the idea of maybe everyone's got particular alignments they want Patrick to do. So there's someone doing chaotic neutral things for Patrick. Someone's doing lawful good, and so you kind of want opportunity for each of them to maybe someone's just trying to fuck with the game and make everything go wrong. You want that kind of to come through.
Okay.
Because democracy does make it a bit. I think it does make it too ordered.
So
And
Democracy
sensible.
was a mistake. You heard it here first.
So here's an alternative before we get too revolutionary. So what if instead of that, alternate mechanic, backtracking, you on your card when you state the action, you have to state the limbs that it requires. And if someone produces an action that doesn't require the same limbs, maybe he also does it. So maybe you're trying to chat a girl up to go on a date or get out of a date, and someone is like, cool, I need mouth and these are the things I want to say, but someone else was like, no, I want to slap the bitch, and does arm. So then you say nice things and then go whoosh.
That kind
Because technically those orders don't conflict.
that kind of already works in with like the bit of paper you pull out of the bowl that says pick two, because then you
Right.
could still get both of those. So you split out. Okay, we're going to do some dialogue, but I also need an upper body action. So you get everyone to produce what they want for the dialogue and what they want the action to be, and then you pick one of both. They could easily be conflicting already. You could also put in the bowl instead of 2, you could put in 3 or 4. Make it as chaotic as you want. So
But that would be the GM's choice.
yeah, pretty much everyone's choice. You can make it as chaotic or easy as you want, but I like the idea of possibly conflicting actions.
So I'd really like to play this. It sounds like
Yeah.
you've got a scenario in mind. The only thing that I would make a suggestion for that I would like to get out before we play is on an explicit win state. It could be that you have a series of challenges or scenarios, and then at the end, they're completely boring. And then right up until the end, it's like, oh, you need to secure the nuclear launch codes. And now all of the players who know each other, know each other what they're going to do, you have a slightly better chance of achieving this far more high stakes thing.
Like
and that
boss
could
level.
Be, yeah, that's how Mafia works.
That's pretty good. So all of a sudden the objective just ramps up in difficulty.
Yeah, it just suddenly goes.
So
and
it's
it'll be best if no one's played the game before,
Yeah.
and it's just like, okay, cool, you've brushed your teeth, now go and disable the launch net.
Oh yeah, maybe one of the other Jaegers down the street has, cut their finger and their cover's been blown. So you need to, quick, we need you to get in here, secure the launch codes, and solve the Suddenly
Yeah.
it ramps up a bunch.
Maybe
That'd be
all
great.
the Patricks look like each other, so they actually can just interchange.
That's racist.
Racist against Patricks.
Yeah, against the Irish.
That's racist.
That's racist to assume that all Patricks are Irish.
You can't be racist against yourself.
Although
I've been
all
Irish
Irish
this entire time.
Lovely. Shall we run through a day in the life of Patrick?
Let's please be Patrick.
A life in the day of Patrick.
Please be Patrick.
Okay, welcome to a day in the life of Patrick / the people in Patrick. We haven't decided yet. R&D still has to decide what the fuck they're doing. So, you are each going to be playing Lilliputians inside Patrick, deciding his actions, deciding on the parts of dialogue. I am going to be simulating another one, just for fun, so we have a bit more in the mix. Here's the situation. Office is the setting. Patrick has to get into his office and finish off his quarterly reports presentation before 10 a.m. It is 9 a.m. Get to your desk on the 4th floor, finish your reports, take a dump, head to the conference room in time.
Why do we have to take a dump?
Because everyone else does it, and you have to fit in how many times. We enter the building, and building security Bernie says hi. Hi, Patrick. How are things? How was your weekend? Get up to anything special? So, I'm gonna need, in like different sections, I'm gonna need your greeting, a nickname for Bernie, other than Bernie, what you did on the weekend, and whether you enjoyed it or not. Like, it was blank. Alright, Bernie says, hi Patrick, how are things? How was your weekend? Get up to anything special?
Cool runnings.
Man meat. On the weekend,
Cool runnings.
and it was...
It was golf light. I fucked up, guys.
Bernie says, "Oh, thanks, man. Glad man meat is catching on. I've been trying to make that happen for a while now." Bernie then reaches behind the desk and says, "Oh, by the way, could you take this upstairs to Stephen on floor 5? And he pulls out a baseball bat with a ribbon tied to it, and it's branded. It says Chekhov on it. He says, "Could you take this up to Stephen on 5? It's his birthday. I can't leave my post. It'd be good if you could deliver it for me." We're going to head into the elevator. Ding, elevator goes up to the 5th floor. You step out. To describe the scene, it's a hallway. Straight down the hallway, about 10 meters in front of you is the water cooler. It's some sort of a T-junction intersection. To your left, about halfway down the hallway, is the copier room door. To your right is a conference room door. Okay, got the geography? Mm-hmm. Stephen's office, you go down the T-junction to the right to get to his office.
We have to pass the copier and the conference room.
Mm-hmm. Currently the doors are closed. No one's bothering you just yet.
They're not gonna stake. That's a trap. I look for traps.
We start walking down the hall. When you get about halfway down, you see Jezza and David are walking from the left towards the water cooler. You must avoid them at all costs because David is almost certainly trying to get you fired because he's a cunt, and Jezza is just an incredibly boring and annoying person. I need an action.
Is there anything in the hall?
There are 2 doors, a water cooler, Jezza and David.
So no other objects. Just
there's your baseball bat and your briefcase.
Oh, we could baseball bat them.
Both. So we're going to be picking 2 out.
Ooh.
Both of your actions are going to happen. So okay. Patrick is going to
hide in the copy room.
But he's going to trip and fall over.
Oh, Jack, why would you do that?
I love it. Okay. Patrick starts moving. He reaches for the copy room door and then falls over on purpose. You attract the attention of both Jezza and David.
Why would you do this?
And they're kind of awkward, and they just stare at you for a second. I'm going to give a bonus action here.
Okay.
So, another action. You're currently on the floor in front of the copy room door. Another action, please. Duncan.
We commando crawl towards the copy room.
Okay, I'm going to let you commando crawl into the copy room and get in. You shut the door behind you. Cool. It's weirdly dark. The copy room's usually quite well lit. There are 2 copiers in there, so normal sized copy room. You shut the door behind you. It's pitch black. I'm going to need another action. 5, 4, 3, 2, ready? Jack.
Hello? I've fallen and I can't get up.
Nobody hears you, so I'm going to go over to Duncan's action as well.
Okay. Hearing nobody in the room, we stand up and fumble for a light switch.
You immediately fall over and hit your head. You start to... Patrick starts to... His eyes start to adjust. The aperture on your Jaeger eyes starts to open. You realise there's construction going on this floor and they're storing a bunch of shit in this room. So there is still a copier in here, and there are tarps and nail guns and a bunch of paint and drop sheets and everything. And you notice you dropped the bat and it has smashed the side of one of the copiers, possibly repairably, possibly not. So, you've potentially broken a copier, the lights are still off, frankly they might not work, why were they off in the first place, and there's a bunch of shit around you. Another action. Duncan.
We listen at the door to see if they're still there.
You hear footsteps approaching. I'm going to allow Jack to take an action as well. Jack.
We grab the bat and hide it behind our back.
Oh, perfect. Cool. You step away from the door, grab the bat, hide behind your back. The door opens, and David opens it. Reminder, David is trying to get you fired. Jezza is the annoying one, but this guy has it out for you. So, he looks in, you're slightly blinded by the light, and David says, "What the fuck, Patrick?" I'm going to need some dialogue. A greeting, and then an explanation, or just whatever you want to say. The question is what the fuck? You have to answer. So, Patrick says, "Hello."
Have you seen Steve?
No, I haven't. What the fuck are you doing? What did you do to the copier? Are you serious? This is your last fucking... This is the last one. I'm gonna go to the boss and get you out of here. Right this fucking second. He's about to move for the door. You can tell this. I'm gonna need an action. So, I need a top half action and a bottom half action. Something you're doing with your top half, something you're doing with your legs. Top half action. Duncan.
Explain it was like that when we found it, probably due to construction workers.
Can I get the exact dialogue?
Yes. The copier. Oh, I didn't notice. It must have been like that all along, probably due to all the construction workers storing things in here. Someone must have bumped it.
Jack. Bottom half action.
Bottom half.
Bottom half.
kick him in the scrot.
No, Jack!
Okay, I need some more information.
You need more information than kick him in the scrot.
How hard?
Sorry. Got hiccups now.
Oh, fuck's sake, Jack.
How hard?
As hard as it's required to disable him.
All right, cool. You give David the biggest punt you can possibly imagine, and nothing happens.
David's
David's a Patrick.
He's a Patrick.
Motherfucker.
David reaches behind him, slams the door shut. You're once again in darkness. You feel hands around your throats. I'm going to need a top half and a bottom half action. Go. Top half action, Jack.
We hit him with the bat.
Sweet. You pull out the back and hit him. Where do you hit him?
In the head.
In the head? Tricky action, but because he's choking you at the same time. You get a decent hit in. You hear a crank. A very human sounding crank. And he stumbles a bit. Cool?
Yep.
Effective. His grip loosens on your neck. You can probably wrestle free next time. Both for the bottom half.
Oh, shit. Well, we're going to punt him a second time.
Oh my god, I've got kick him and scrot again.
Alright, I won't even bother drawing. Alright, cool.
Double kick to the
Both
scrot.
feet just come up.
Yeah, with both legs you punch him in the scrotum in a bizarre feat of human flexibility. Alright, both your feet come up, you hit him in the crotch. Nothing happens, you hear another human grunk. Slightly louder this time, you might be making damage, and because you've taken both feet off the ground, and David's hands around your neck, you both fall over backwards. You are still holding the bat, no pain. David seems to be malfunctioning slightly. You're both on the floor. I need another top half and a bottom half action. Top half action, Jack.
Patrick says, "We're not so different, you and I."
Okay. That's just dialogue, so I'm going to allow Duncan to do another top half action.
And I punch him in the dick.
Stop going for the dick. He clearly doesn't feel it.
No crotch, no crab.
I was doing a dialogue action as well.
Go for it.
We are also lacking genitals and pain.
I like it. And bottom half action, Jack.
Was gonna try and run out of the door.
You're on the floor under him. No, you skip your turn. Duncan.
We kick him off.
You kick him off? Nice. You kick him. He flies backwards, hits a shelf, and you hear a clank, clank. And he freezes in the spot. His face opens up, and in the darkness you can see tiny minuscule people parachuting out with tiny bulbs around their heads. They clearly have a higher budget than you guys. Fade to black. No, smash cut. And that's the people in Patrick. To be continued.
Yay! Claps our hands.
You now have a body to hide and other Lilliputian type people loose in the building.
I don't think we do have either of those things. I think we just give Patrick the bat and then leave the room.
Yeah.
Just leave it. Nope, wasn't me. That baseball side, that baseball bat dent in the side of his head could be anyone.
The Shaggy defense wasn't me.
But I caught him in the copy room.
Look, we've got a report to file by 10 o'clock.
That is true.
No, not a report to file. If you think that's what you're doing, you're already fucked. You have to finish your presentation.
Oh. A presentation.
And take a dump. And it's already 9:20. You've killed a man, and you still need to pretend to take a dump.
That's fine. We can pretend to take a dump in the copy room.
That's my game. All done.
Yeah.
Okay. I enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Is there any final words you'd like to say?
I think it has spoken for itself.
Yeah, okay. In that case, let's go to a commercial, and when we come back, Jack's game.
Cool.
If you're an economy-minded cook, your knife can be one of your best friends. By learning to use your knife wisely, you can get more value for your food dollar. You can buy a pork rib roast, for example, and cut the meat away from the bone. Then you'll have an elegant, boneless pork roast, and there'll still be plenty of meat on the bones to barbecue like spare ribs. This is Sarah Beck, Consumer Meat Specialist for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have an announcement before we continue. Look, we're hearing some disturbing reports, actually, that despite the amount of times on this show that Sarah Beck from the US Department of Agriculture has said, please write in about your meat. She's not. There's been no letters sent from the Idiots 3 RPG podcast. So please write to the US Department of Agriculture for Sarah Beck about meat.
Yeah, we get a little kickback for every postcard they receive, and so far the coffers are dry. There's no budget. We need your help, guys.
AJ's had to start selling his body for cookies and mics.
He's only got so many kidneys.
Well, one less now. But yeah, we're going into the Mundane Fundane version of Jack's world.
Jack, please bore us and amaze us.
Bore us and amaze us. I can do one of those things, as you are soon to discover. Righto. So, this game is not actually a game. It is a adventure designed around the D&D framework with a couple of subtractions and additions.
Right, so losing points for novelty.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Duncan,
as
just
we speak.
Get off my ass.
And design as well.
I'm going to bite you.
Reclaim some fun.
I'm going to bite you any second. I'm going to come under that table. I'm going to bite you in the dick.
And I will enjoy it. So please, tell us about your game.
Okay, so this game is called, or rather scenario is called Dreary on the Hill.
Okay.
It is a D&D adventure for 3 to 5 players, playing as a brand new class, or rather a unusual homebrew class originally designed by Kaberu. It's called the Commoner. And the idea of this is, okay, Mundane Fundane. D&D, all these kinds of RPG adventures, they're about going out into the world with your friends and doing incredible, amazing things. But you're not the only people in the world. Someone's got to tidy up after all of your shenanigans, right? Mm-hmm. And those people are the commoners.
NPCs.
The NPCs. So, Mundane, you guys are going to be playing as the equivalent of NPCs.
Lovely.
Nice. I can't wait to sweep the floors and black the stove and everything.
Well, it's funny that you should say that. So I guess I should kind of introduce the area, because I have a little introductory thing to explain. Please.
Introduce us.
Welcome to Dreary on the Hill, the most boring village in the world, filled with the most boring people in the world.
Us.
The only interesting thing about it is that it sits upon a highway to adventure through which all the heroes of the world eventually traverse. Fortunately, that means a roaring trade for the locals, as they're a one-stop shop for most adventurers looking to offload valuable goods before they move on. Unfortunately, this also means there's a lot of drama and mess to deal with adventurers being the borderline sociopaths that they are. That's where you and your friends come in.
Okay.
As tavern workers with the most experience in dealing with these adventurers and their mishaps, you are usually called in to handle the various issues and messes left behind by these medieval entrepreneurs. Most of the time, that would only require a broom, some gloves, and a strong stomach. But not this time. Ooh, here's the twist.
Here's the Fundane.
Here's the Fundane part. After a magical mishap, you find yourselves with newfangled abilities and powers that could start you on a path of adventure, the idea of which absolutely terrifies you. You just want to raise sheep, marry someone who stinks of manure all the time,
or raise someone who stinks of manure or marry a sheep.
and eventually die of an easily preventable disease. If anybody, and I mean anybody, found out you had power, you'll be sent off to be part of some quirky group of murder hobos. Horrifically unmundane. Oh gods, you might even get a backstory. You could just pretend you're as boring as the rest of the peasantry, but the adventurers' leavings have been getting worse lately. And I'm not just talking about the contents of the long drops out back. There's no way you could fix up the latest batch of issues without using some of your newfangled power and still keep everyone happy. Upset too many people, and you might end up losing your job. And then there'll be no sheep, pooey partners, or smallpox for anybody. So, it falls to you and the rest of your cursedly blessed friends to fix up the village, keep the place calm, but for God's sakes, don't let anyone know you're exceptional now.
Okay.
This sounds almost too fun. Sounds good.
So, the intent of this...
Also, I like that you say, God forbid you get a backstory. Is that something you visit a doctor for?
Yeah.
To get it lanced.
Doctor,
Give me the news.
I'm starting to remember my childhood, and it was troubled.
Yeah. Your entire family got killed by orcs, and now you're a half-elf vengeance paladin, and blah, 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 blah.
I think I used to be a prince.
Oh, God. Yeah. So fun thing about the commoner class that we're going to be playing today, it's actually intended as it's kind of an introduction to either as hard mode or introduction to D&D. There are very few class abilities. There are very few additional things that you need to worry about. All you need really is what you've got on this one sheet here, and then once you complete the class, i.e. reach level 4, doesn't go up to 20, you get to recreate your character with an extra feat for getting through the pain of being a commoner. So this adventure is designed to introduce people to D&D and provide a new way rather than, hey, you all meet in the tavern. I mean, you do all meet in the tavern, but you work there for this one.
Okay.
You all punch in at the tavern.
Yeah, you all punch in at the tavern. So, the first thing that you need to do is pick a character, and you have...
This one.
No,
okay.
I want first choice. Host's choice.
And what race? What race were you?
Unless I don't want that one.
I am a dwarf.
You're a dwarf,
Sweet.
and you can be a halfling, an elf, or a human.
Oh, choices. I actually just want to be. I want to be as boring as possible. So could I be a human, please?
Elves. Elves are boring as
No,
fuck.
elves are too interesting.
There we go. So, one of the things about this class is that you'll notice your stats are absolute shit. They are awful. You have a couple of things that you're like, have one thing that you're good at and one thing that you're bad at.
Yeah.
And everything else is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 11, 10, 9, 10 kind of deal. That's because you're a commoner and you have no skills, you have no abilities other than the very most basic ones.
Still get a +2 proficiency bonus though. That's not bad.
Yeah,
Same.
you're level 1.
Proficient as fuck.
You still get that proficiency, and funnily enough, that proficiency bonus is higher than you get when you start off as a regular adventurer. So,
Nice. So, do we need to get into mechanics, or are we just jumping into a story?
so the mechanics are basically simplified D&D. You'll notice that you don't have any kind of like racial things and features like elves need to sleep here, they need to sleep as normal. You don't get any advantages or disadvantages to wisdom checks or anything like that as a half elf. Anything like that you don't get. This is intended baby's first D&D game. The only other mechanic to mention is the difficulty mechanic, which is the unique part of this, and it's very simple. You as the commoners have chores to do as part of this adventure. The longer you leave the chores, the harder they get, and the more likely you will need to use your powers to solve them.
Right.
If anyone sees your powers, you get shipped off to Murder Hobo Academy. If you don't complete the chores in time, people will get pissed off, and then you lose your job. Which you don't want, because otherwise you won't be able to marry your pooey partner or fuck some sheep.
You have to go out and be an adventurer to make ends meet.
Yeah, you don't want that. You're boring. You're incredibly boring. And it's just a twist of fate that's made you interesting in any way. So is everyone on board, understanding, and everything like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Any questions so far?
Now I'm ready for this fun-packed whirlwind of an adventure.
I want to do some friggin' chores.
And you'll notice that the only weapon that you have is a dagger.
Yes.
And that's the only thing you are proficient with. You have no proficiencies in anything else.
Okay.
Sweet.
Right.
Alright. I was going to say we need character voices and names, but there are no names on here. I
No,
think
make 'em up.
we're that boring.
Make them up. You don't have names.
Name. And I've got an accent as well. Oh no, I'm
Yes.
turning into a character.
Oh my god, I should put that in the preamble. Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be the traditional, poorly done West Country accent. I'm Ari Belkirk. I'm 43. I've been a table whelp my whole life. I'm changing now. I'm changing now.
Getting lower and lower,
Right,
mate.
I think I'm gonna stick with this accent because I don't think I can keep. Oh no, I'm going Australian now.
I'm Ballum the dwarf. I'm regretting this voice.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's late. The fire is burning low in the hearth, the usual drunkards have been cleared out, and all the chairs have been neatly arranged upside down on various rickety tables. You and your fellow tavern workers are sweeping, dusting, and wiping as the need calls, all of you thinking of your nice warm straw beds at home. It's been a long day in the village. Yet another crowd of those bloody adventurers, as your boss Old Klaus calls them, blew through the other day, devaluing your currency by throwing their gold around, intimidating or seducing every other shopkeep, and in one memorable event, polymorphing the sheriff into a cow before dropping him off the bell tower. You breathe a deep sigh and return to your cleaning, eyeing the latest rowdy group of those bloody adventurers to arrive. They're all packed into a corner, whispering excitedly to each other over some box they found in a crypt. They don't even seem to care how late it is, fiddling away with the lock on the front, keeping you all awake, just in case they order another round. Old Klaus doesn't dare kick them out, not when there's gold to be had. All of a sudden, the shifty-looking one crows out in delight, throwing the now-picked lock across the room and pumping the air. The rest of the party leans in as he triumphantly throws open the lid of the box, only for them all to suddenly glow with a red energy and explode in a rain of limbs and viscera. You and your workmates are thrown against the furniture, engulfed by gore and that same red energy. Your whole life flashes before your eyes, and let me tell you, it was very boring. But instead of detonating, your fingers begin to crackle with some kind of eldritch energy before seeping back into your skin. Oh no, this is that destiny business, isn't it? And you just heard old Klaus stop snoring from up above. You need to clean this mess up, fast. He can't know anything weird happened, or you'll be the ones who get into trouble.
Right, we need to clean up this shit and get that box out of here. I'm gonna go for the box, throw it out a window.
Right,
Someone else's problem.
I'm gonna get a dustpan and shovel and start grabbing some of the bigger bits of gore.
Make a athletics check.
I have a +1 to athletics, and I have rolled a natural 2.
How common.
So I get 3.
You get 3,
Yes.
and make a following acrobatics check.
Shit.
There is literally blood on the ceiling.
Okay, I get 5.
Right, so that's a failure.
3 and 5.
What happens is you try and scoop up these bits of blood and you're just slipping in it. You step on a kidney and, like, with yakety sax playing in the background, you fall arse over tea kettle into a table.
Okay.
So that doesn't work.
Shit.
AJ, what are you doing?
I grab the box, I try and throw it out the nearest open window. Or I open a window to throw it out. So it's someone else's problem.
So the windows are locked. You went round and locked them beforehand. So you can try and open them.
I'll throw it out the front door. That's been kicked open.
Cool.
Out the front door as hard as I can, into the street as far as I
Easy
can.
enough. No check for that. That is a success.
Tight.
You still have an awful amount of blood all over the place. You do have the opportunity to perhaps to hide it rather than clean it, but if you want to be creative,
How do you hide blood without cleaning it?
Magic.
there's curtains.
No, it doesn't sound good.
Yes, you could literally
What kind of fancy tavern is this with curtains?
fantasy taverns.
All right.
Anyway, so-
if there are curtains, I'm gonna grab the curtains and panic, and then chuck them all over the floor.
Okay,
Right.
make a
Why did I rip the curtains down?
make a sleight of hand check.
Can you even reach,
Yeah, fair
can
enough.
you reach the curtains?
20!
Okay, cool. That counts as 2 successes when you get a crit. Cool. Awesome. So you rip the curtains down, and you know when someone pulls a tablecloth off and leaves everything standing on the top? You do the opposite of that. You throw the tablecloth over the blood, and somehow it just gets bigger, and it looks like you've just kind of made a nice fancy tablecloth on the bloodiest table in the room.
Cool.
You do still have a little bit of stuff to deal with. You do have an opportunity to leave and ignore the problem, or deal with Klaus himself as you hear him creakety-cracketing his way
Okay, I need
down
to
across
stand
the
up.
landing.
Yeah, I think we need someone to run distraction and someone to keep working on the mess.
Right. Well, I'm covered in blood. So you go deal with Klaus, and I'll figure out my exit, and then I'll stay here.
I'm on it.
can't-
I run towards the stairs to insert Klaus on them and make small talk.
Okay, cool. Make a persuasion check.
17.
Excellent. So you chat with old Klaus. He comes down. He's an older fellow with some mutton chops, bald pate, greying hair, quite fat. Your typical tavern owner.
Yeah.
He's in a nightgown, but he's still got the apron on for some reason. And he walks down with his rheumy eyes. And says, "What's going on?"
Hey there, Klaus. Oh, nothing. I just dropped a pan. I'm just coming up here to grab some baking soda to really get those stains at the back of the stove.
Right.
You alright, mate? You need to get back upstairs. Early day tomorrow.
Yeah. Make another persuasion check.
8.
Yeah, that succeeds.
Woo!
I will say the DCs for this adventure are very low. These are commoners you're dealing with. You're not
True.
fighting dragons.
Good point.
He's tired as well. So all right, fine. Just get it cleaned up. I'm being early tomorrow. We got some other stuff to deal with. And he makes his way back upstairs.
Cool. I'm going to continue upstairs and get that baking soda because I think that might be useful for soaking up blood.
Fantasy baking soda.
Yes.
It's fairy soda
It's just powdered up fairies.
with the wings still in. That's how you know it's the good stuff.
So that's the one. So I go to the closet, grab it, head back downstairs.
With the assistance of, I assume, the baking soda.
Yeah.
You guys successfully spend the next hour or so just scouring the place.
Oh, well, are we going to skip over all this excitement?
All of the exciting, mundane, blood removing
That's what we're
issues.
here for. But fair enough, continue.
Excellent. So as you clean up, you do manage. You basically fix the place until it's looking not spotless. There's definitely some stains that won't go away, but enough for Klaus's poor vision to avoid. You also
Think of the car in Pulp Fiction, like that, please.
Yeah, exactly. And you eventually, on your clean, you actually find a pouch of gold coins full of 10 gold. And I will note, 10 gold is a lot of money.
And where was the
people.
pouch?
It was in basically a pile of giblets and stuff. It clearly.
Who finds it? Or do both our hands grab it at the same time and then we stare into each other's eyes?
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
No, Harry I would like to tentatively pick it up and just get rid of it, biff it outside. I know it's a lot of money, but it's too much money.
You just throw it outside.
That's too much assignment.
Balin tries to intercept because he's a dwarf and he wants it.
Duncan, make an attack roll.
Who am I attacking?
You're not attacking anything. It's just to see how far you manage to yeet it.
I yeet it.
One.
No.
Make a dex check.
I rolled a natural 1.
8.
Yep.
Really good for a
What
commoner.
confounded low rolling dice? I'm switching dice. That's
He-
multiple nat ones.
Out of character for your usually stocky dwarven friend, he puts on a turn of speed and manages to snatch the gold out of the air as you.
Oh, you're risking trouble there, Bellin. You're risking trouble.
I need the money, man.
Do you need the money that badly?
We're gonna get fired. I need it.
I'm so sorry about this accent. It keeps morphing. He's got this weird condition where he can't hold an accent.
Add 10 gold to your.
Sweet.
Excellent. So on the completion of your chores, you receive enough experience points to level up to level 2.
yeah.
You are now level 2, and what that means is that you gain access to your eldritch powers.
But I don't want it.
Yeah, you gain access to your eldritch powers, which for those
Eldritch
listening,
flowers.
Eldritch flowers, eldritch blast. You guys go to bed, I assume.
Yeah, but I don't want
the
to
next
sleep.
day.
I want to lie awake staring at the ceiling.
Okay. Then give me your goddamn powers back. No, I'm joking. As you lie awake, you suddenly feel the twitching in your fingers. That red eldritch energy comes up again. So, and you suddenly feel as if you could do anything right now.
Right.
You could climb a mountain. You could do a backflip. You could fight off a dragon. You could do anything. It's very out of character for you.
You can polish all the glasses in the tavern in 10 minutes.
I could finally work up the courage to talk to Harrietta, my future wife.
The one that smells like poos.
Oh, she don't smell like poos to me, mate.
Your heightened adventurer sense of smell reveals that she does.
Smells like the
smell poo.
finest roses.
Meanwhile, in
That a
what's your
horse
character's
ate
name
and
again?
shat out
Balon,
again.
who is snoring.
Ballon, as he goes to sleep, he has this dream about some strange voice that had this very deep and booming, very, very attractive voice, actually. You feel a little tingle. But it tells you about how you're the chosen one, you have powers, and you should be ready to adventure at any moment. And that's the point that you wake up, because that sounds like a terrifying dream.
Because it's just a dream.
Yeah, because it's just a dream. But you do wake up and you have a very small notepad in your hand. It's not a magical book, it's a magical notepad. It's what you've got.
Like the one from Blue's Clues.
Yeah. It's the, you have the blues.
You have the
clues.
map. You have the map.
Cool.
The map.
And thus you both wake up and I assume head to the tavern. So, that is the end of Chore 1. This is a clean-up detail, and at this point the players would have an opportunity to go and use their abilities in Chore 2 and Chore 3 and the various other chores that the DM wants to go up with. The chores themselves are involved, like an old married couple, is Chore 2, where they have to resolve an argument between the miller and her wife, And chore 3, which is I'm the biggest rat that makes all of the rules, which is a combat encounter.
Oh.
Where you are fighting a rat.
I wouldn't fight a rat. I'd hire an adventurer to clean them out.
Exactly.
I'd let them build up to a point that I can no longer use my warehouse.
Well,
I've got 10 gold to spend.
exactly. You've got 10 gold,
and then hire
haven't
an
you?
adventurer to come, like a level 1 adventurer. I want to be a quest giver. That's my dream.
Boom! The little exclamation mark appears
One
above your
day I
head.
want to walk outside, look up and see an exclamation mark, and that's how I know I made it.
The longer you leave these chores, the harder they get. So chore 2, if you go and deal with it immediately before you deal with the rat, it's as described here. It's actually pretty easy. But if you leave it, the couple start having a big argument. They start by giving each other the cold shoulder, then they evolve into an argument, and the difficulties go up. And then if you leave it even longer, the families of them, everyone's like in-laws get involved as well. So you have to start thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna have to start using my lucky feat to like get better persuasion rolls to deal with these people.
The universe is compelling you to get amongst.
And chore 3, similarly, if you leave it for too long, the rat that you fight gets bigger and bites harder. And again, you may have to start dealing with those issues. All the feats, even the fighter feats, they are recognizably magical. Because you're a peasant, what the fighter feat does is gives you proficiency in a bunch of martial weapons, which you shouldn't have proficiency in.
Sure.
And people will know that some magical doohickery is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Dreary on the Hill, an opening adventure that starts mundane and becomes Fundane.
That was Fundane.
Okay, good.
That was a good time.
That was fun. I had fun and Dane.
Both of those things in that order.
Yes, so that was appropriate for the setting.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So, with that, I have some scores. So we're going to go through it category by category just to try and screw up the math so you can't follow along who's winning. And then I'll do a big reveal at the end. Don't you look at my points, AJ.
I wasn't, sir.
Stealing a glance at my clipboard that I left open and visible. So we're going to start with design. So design, how well was the game designed? What was the mechanic like? All that sort of stuff. For the people in Patrick, for design, I gave it a 6.
Yeah, there's not
So
too
I
much
thought
design there.
it was above average in terms of an interesting mechanic, but it was quite slow. So the story kept jarring to a halt as we did the scribbling and stuff, which I found a little bit clunky as we were playing it. Still quite enjoyable, but slow, like it jarred to a halt.
Yes, but because in D&D, for example, it's one person taking their turn. This is everyone taking their turn at once. So
Yeah, so almost needs...
you're not wrong.
Almost needs like a few more playtests either to improve everyone's like speed at writing stuff or to figure out a faster way of doing it. For Dreary on the Hill, for design, I gave it a 3. So while it's a unique scenario, it was a unique mechanic because it was you just made a D&D scenario rather than a new game.
And D&D gets a 3 out of 10 for design.
Exactly.
Controversial.
Mike Miles, are you listening to this?
I gave you a 3. However,
Gary Gygax is spinning his grave.
for novelty, I've given you a 5, Jack, because I thought that the scenario was excellent and highly unique. There's no novelty in playing the game because it's Dungeons and Dragons, exactly Dungeons and Dragons, with a couple of tweaks that you're telling me are different, but I was just playing D&D. AJ, I give you an 8.
Yay!
For novelty. I thought it was highly novel. I thought it was a unique RPG concept, and playing it through was a novel experience.
Mad Libs the RPG.
Yeah, it was great. So, for funness, I gave you a solid 10.
Woo!
You made Jack cry laughing so hard he hiccuped. And I think if you can make someone get to tears from laughter, preferably not any other reason, then your game is doing very well.
To be honest, I think you guys did that yourself by both trying to kick someone in the crotch with both legs.
But
Congrats.
You gave us the keys to the crotch.
Keys to the Crotch is my favourite series on Netflix.
Yeah. So, Jack, I gave you an 8 for fun because I really enjoyed being a commoner. I struggled with my accent constantly, so I need some practice, annoyingly. But the big thing is I could see it getting better as we played. Like I could see it getting more stressful as we were forced to reckon with trying to be common. You know, the character I was trying to play was very afraid of himself almost, And that would have gotten more and more interesting as we played. So, perfect. Now, Mundane is the final score. Making the Mundane Fundane. So I am scoring you on how mundane the setting is. So we've already scored funness. So this is about how actually mundane your setting was. And Jack, your setting was an 8 for mundane. We were common folk mopping up a tavern. While you could argue that the cause of the mess isn't mundane, I thought our part in it was extremely boring.
Agreed.
Yes, extremely boring. If you went up to someone and said, do you want to play an RPG where you roleplay mopping up a floor? I would say no.
Mopping the floor, finding baking soda.
Yes. Yeah. Convincing the tavern not to come down so we don't lose our jobs. AJ, this is going to be slightly controversial.
Ooh.
But I gave you a 6.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why.
Officers are just too exciting for Duncan.
But it's not an office, though. We were aliens planning an alien invasion, battling another alien robot that was also planning an alien invasion.
Well, so but that was a fun twist.
While technically we were inside an office, we weren't mundane. We were just in a mundane place.
I see. Yeah.
But here's what the final score actually turns to. In second place is Jack with a perfectly respectable but not that great 24 out of 40.
Thank God I don't have to make it into a PDF.
Which means AJ wins with 30 points. So, a day in the life of Patrick / the men inside Patrick / the people in Patrick, or whatever it was called, wins the day.
Yay! Yay! End music. Well done.
Tune in next week for our no. I have to think about what I'm going to say before I say it. What do we normally do? Tune in next week for
Please give us a like or a rating. Or
we don't come out every week.
Oh.
Tune in next episode.
Tune in next episode. Yeah. Tune in next episode for a game all about politics.
Is that it? That's all you got?
Am I supposed to do more?
We normally say, can you leave review or whatever.
Oh, okay, sure.
Follow us, review us, tell your friends.
God, we're professional.
If you've liked what you've heard here today, I hope you will tune in with us next week for an episode all about politics. But until then, check out the rest of the episodes. We've got up to number 8 now, and leave us a review if you're enjoying yourself. Hope to see you then. Till then, stay rolling.